Yo, yo, get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're here Sunday night. We're a little disappointed right now in the lack of effort that the Chicago Bears had tonight against the Detroit Lions. And unbelievable. I really thought that they were going to come out swinging for the fences. I thought that they could put forth a little bit better productivity, a little bit more something. And even though Caleb shined, we also got to think and take into consideration he was playing against the backups. So let's get into this. Let's get into the Ben Johnson, audition for, basically he just took a look at what we had, sniffed around. We sniffed around him, kind of saw what he had, what we had, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's get into it, man. Let's hit the brass taxes. Thank you all for joining us. Chicago Sports Podcast, Monsters of the Madhouse. I am your host, Brandon Trackside. I'm with my co-host, Jamari Riddick. Jamari, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, Brandon. How's everything?
Good, man. Good. Just left Bridges Scoreboard, your Northwest Indiana Chicago sports headquarters with the Hall of Fame menu and the coldest beer in Chicagoland. We were up there with Jerry, a.k.a. Zuma, and we did a pregame, game, and postgame show. And boy, was it a good time. We had a blast with all the folks up there. I mean, it was packed to the gills. I can't believe how many people actually show up and show out still. And you know what? No matter what, win, lose, or draw, we always have fun at Bridges Scoreboard. I mean, honestly, we started very small. I mean, they've always packed it to the gills. But as far as the podcast goes, we weren't really sure how it was going to shake out. And, man, it's just been a blessing to see all those people coming up there and supporting us and supporting them. We're like a family and friends. And I mean, it's something. It's something. We give away televisions. We do trivia. We do all kinds of stuff, man. We laugh. We cry. They yell at me like I'm the one that's calling the plays. Sometimes they think I'm the coach or something. I don't know. Or like I'm going to file all their reports, off to the Chicago Bears and get a hold of the, George and Virginia and Brian and just say, hey, these guys have had enough. Just do this, do that, But man, it was a good time. It was a good time and it was a bad time. It was bittersweet because that very well might have been my very last Chicago Bears show up there, and not for a bad reason, but because I might be moving on. I got an audition January 5th up there at the Wind Creek Casino. We'll see how it goes against the Packers game, and I'll be up there with my co-host Jim Miller, and hopefully, we'll knock it out of the park. But right now, we're getting ready to talk about the post game. We're getting ready to talk about the post game against the Lions. And the Bears suffered their 9th consecutive loss in a 34-17 defeat against the Detroit Lions at Soldier Field, marking their second longest streak in franchise history. So in this Monsters of the Madhouse postgame show, we break down the key moments. We break down and analyze the good and the bad and discuss where the Bears go from here. 3 moments that mattered to most to me, and you can, we'll crossfire back and forth, of course, but Jared Goff's improvised touchdown to Sam Laporta that summed up the Bears' season struggles right there in a nutshell. Do you remember that? That was something right there, brother.
Yeah, like that. It just shows the lack of focus with the team. All day while I was watching the game, I'm just like the defense just struggled. Like they giving up third and longs.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, Lord, like how worse can they get? But I mean, Caleb showed some fight today. I mean, they still got some work, but We said it before. This defense, it looked like they giving up. Like they gave up on the season, and it seemed like the team they just playing, going through the motions. They can't wait for the season to end.
And they
So
give up, they get a pass. Like, seriously, they get a pass because our offense is bad for so long. They know Caleb, they see it. He passes the eye test. There's a lot of things he's got to clean up, but he's a rookie. And as far as the team goes, they see all of the moving parts. They see the pieces. They forget that the defense is giving up, like you said, to your point, Jamari, they're giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points, man. And to me, that is very, that's been a cornerstone of Chicago Bears for years. And we've never seen nothing like this. This is insane, right, Jamari?
absolutely, like I feel like you said, we haven't seen nothing like this before. Maybe outside of the Trustman years, but I mean, with
Yeah.
the with the defense giving up all these yards and points, I mean, even if the offense was putting up the points, it'll still be like we'll be in shootouts. Really, like you expect the defense to be able to get some stops with how much they have invested on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just giving it up right now. So and it's crazy because I mean I understand we have injuries, but a lot of teams have injuries, and you don't really see like a dramatic drop off like how you will with us. So we still got some work on this team. Poe still has some work. So yeah, going in the off season, we'll see how they fill these holes.
Well, and I mean, to your point, honestly, you look at the other side of the ball, and then the other team, the Lions, they got like
Hmm.
12, 13 injuries. Some guys out on IR. It's ridiculous. A lot of it on the defensive side of the ball. Montgomery's out, it's
Yeah,
it's it's bad. So it's not like we're the ones, that have the key injuries, and the guys that you look at it that are injured, to me some of them are key and some of them aren't, but we'll get into all that for sure. Another key moment that stood out for me is Caleb Williams' impressive 40-yard touchdown to Keenan Allen just before halftime. Now, I know that we get off to a slow start. That is something that Jerry Zuma brought up in our pregame show. He said we get off to a slow start, so look for us to kind of, take off later on, but hopefully we could start a little bit earlier than last time. He was right. We did start a little bit earlier, but to no point it didn't matter because even though we scored on 3 consecutive drives, to your point, the defense still didn't do what it could do in order to make the key stops, in order to try to turn this around or do some key turnovers and potentially score on those turnovers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I seen a few like it was a few plays where we had some chances. Like Stevenson got his hands on one that could have been taken back. Like I said, like they giving up third and longs and stuff. Like I feel like our pursuit, like we don't rally to the ball at all. Like these guys is catching the ball, uh, like 5 yard passes or dump off passes, and they are able to take it like an extra 5, 7, sometimes 7+ yards, and it extends the drive. And then on top of that, you see it like sometimes we get penalties. With like we'll get them fourth and short. That killed us like once right before half, I believe. They could have got a stop or at least settle for a field goal, and then next thing you know, they get a offsides or a neutral zone infraction. So we just keep killing ourselves. We playing on undisciplined football right now. We not playing. We don't have attention to details when it comes to like tackling and rallying. So they got a lot to fix.
They do. But like I said, you got to look at that 45-yard impressive touchdown to Keenan Allen, and that as well as some other plays that he's had in the last few weeks. Kind of got to take a good look at Keenan and see if he's actually worth keeping on the roster. I say yes. I don't know what you say, but I mean he's basically out there like a coach in the gridiron, out on the field. I mean, you heard it first, the wide receiver coordinator, who's now the offensive coordinator, he more or less just said, hey, yeah, let's this guy is the real deal. He says things, and a lot of times he'll just gloss over and be like, whatever. With Keenan, he's got to stop and take a look. And a lot of times Keenan is right. He's next level. Like he said, he's got a bright future after playing on the field. And it's nice to have a coach on the not only on the field, but on the sideline with the players. That is a player, I'd be interested in keeping him. That's for sure, man. He looked great today. That 45-yard catch, that was huge, man. That sparked us,
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like I think that we should give him at least like another 1 or 2 years. He like you said, he's an on field coach basically. Um, Another year with Caleb would definitely do him well because those older receivers, like, they do come in handy. Keenan isn't a guy where his game is based off of athleticism, so I feel like he could play into like his late 30s. He's a big guy. He's a route technician. So I think if you can at least get another guy, like maybe they'll draft a guy who has like that quick twitch ability to get open off the line of scrimmage. 'Cause I do think that we need that. And maybe like have him come in spurts. But like a guy like Keenan is definitely a guy that I would reconsider bringing him in. People look at the stats and say like, oh, he's not really doing anything, or like they'll say maybe he had like 1 or 2 good games, but his impact on the field allows the receipt, like he's controlling the slot if he's lined up inside. Like he's demanding attention. So I think that's good for us to have DJ and a Doomsday, and then you still got Komet in the middle of the field also. So I think we have the guys, just that we just need like continuity with the scheme. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you, and he looked good. Cole looked good. Our offense really opened up, but they're opening up late, man, and they got to do something about it. But these are the key things that we need to look at moving forward against good ball clubs, against Jerry Azuma said earlier. If you want to take a look, go back to the show before this one, which was our pregame show with Jerry Azuma at Bridges Scoreboard, man. Pro Bowler, great guy, a lot of good input, whatever. He brought up that we've got to start earlier, but right now is the time where we really need to start to take a look at what we are going to do next year. Take a look at everything from that lens, and it might be a little bit easier to digest, because right now, even as bad as our Bears are playing and all this and that, when the clock strikes and there's no more Bears football to play, we are going to be looking for the underwear Olympics. We're going to be excited about the freaking draft. We're going to be excited about the combine. We're going to be excited about mini camps. All this stuff that don't have diddly squat to do with football, we're going to be excited about. But guess what, folks? We actually get to see them don on their helmets and down on their pads and get out there and play. So at least be thankful and grateful of this. And whatever you do, do not abandon ship. Do not abandon hope. I have a really good feeling that there's some good times around the corner, baby. So let's talk about the 3 things that actually worked out. Okay. I would say Caleb Williams continues to develop as the Bears' future franchise QB, throwing for 332 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he threw for well over 3,000 yards this year. Still got a few more games left. He can add on to that and put this way into the record books. I mean, seriously, this is looking pretty impressive. He also broke a record for a rookie that has thrown more balls and played more games without throwing an interception and not being able to freaking win. So we need to get this guy some help. And it ain't just about him. It's about the other 53. We need to get some help as far as coaching. We need to get some help as far as players and depth and all kinds of things. It's going to take a lot, okay? But hopefully a little spark will go a long way. But as of right now, Caleb was that spark. Another spark was Keenan Allen's standout performance with 140 yards and a touchdown in his best game this season. That's right, man. He's aging like fine wine, baby. He's looking better than Napa Valley and Italy combined, man. He is looking smooth. So I really liked Caleb. I liked Keenan. Could they have cleaned up and did better? Absolutely. Why don't we pile it on and say he should have got another 68 yards for 400 and maybe another touchdown and could have got rid of the ball and this and that? Why don't we just get into Madden and sculpt the best 100 overall rating freaking quarterback for you? Because at this point, that's what it's going to take to make some of you idiots out there happy. The other guys that are real true fans and really Bears fans, they're going to understand that this is a process. And meatballs like me, who I was partially at fault for this by seeing and believing the hype and seeing all the awesome underwear Olympics that Caleb possessed and watching him at USC and watching him at Oklahoma and watching his ultimate highlight reel and checking out his Instagram and all this sort of stuff. They lured me in and they reeled me in, and I thought for sure we were going to kill it and Caleb was going to walk on water and all this and that. Happens every time. I did the same thing with Justin, man. So listen, we're at fault for this crap too. So if you want to blame someone, blame yourself, because he's still a freaking rookie and we've got a lot of moving parts on the offense. Now the defense, not so much.
Brandon went out. I was gonna touch on what he was saying. Yeah, the defense, they've been together for a long time. We should be demanding that they play better. Um, but I feel like the offense definitely this offseason
Hey, here I am. I'm back. I'm back, buddy. I lost connection. Hey, I will say this, Jamari. I will say this. We are going to look better. We are going to be better. It's just a matter of time, okay? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right, Jamari?
Yeah, I believe we probably like another off season away. We still, like you said, we have to get the right coaches in there first. Because my opinion, I feel like a good team starts with good leadership. You need the coaches, and then that's when you install your system, and then you get your players, build that culture. Brighter days ahead. I think we finally have that quarterback that we've been looking for so long. Things haven't worked out this year, but if anything, he's definitely a bright spot. Um, Defense, we still got to build on that. Offensive line, like we still got to build the trenches. But I think the weapons that we have around Caleb is definitely going to be something
You, you
we
know,
will
let's
have
let's
long
talk
term.
about that defense, Jamari. The defense showed resiliency. They held the Lions to field goals on 3 red zone trips. That is something that we saw early and often, early in the season, where they looked really good. So I like that right there. But I will say this: I'm going to quote Olin Kreutz, and it made a lot of sense. We need to hire Matt Eberflus to fix this broken defense. That's what Olin said. And you know what? What did we do? We fired the only guy that could call defensive plays on our freaking team. And where did it get us? Okay? Is our offense getting any better? Nope. Are we winning games? Nope. Is our defense looking worse? Yep. So again, we're a little bit of ash backwards, okay? So just a little funny tidbit that Olin threw out there. Things that make you go, not saying that Eberflus is the answer, but he definitely wasn't as big of a problem as what we see now on the defensive side of the ball. Can I get an amen? I'm taking y'all to church, as Smooth Criminal said. So, yeah, I do like that, though. I do like that we held them to 3 field goals. That was awesome. Let's talk about 3 things really quick, Jamari, that didn't work. Persistent first quarter struggles, 0 points and multiple turnovers. Oh, my God. What? Why? Why do we have to wait to the third quarter? I'd rather watch baseball in freaking April, maybe even March. I'm telling you, it is freaking boring. Oh my God. It's killing me. What is going on, Jamari? Why?
It's like soon as we get the ball, you are like first when we got the ball, I'm like, oh man, I know we're not gonna do nothing. And then you see how Detroit is, like they just go down the field, kick the field goal, then we get the fumble, and then they hit Jameson on the big touchdown. I'm like, oh my gosh, we back down big again. So now we have to claw our way back up. So it's like, when is it gonna stop, Brandon? When is it
Oh,
gonna
dude,
stop?
I don't know. But I'll tell you what. Another thing, the Lions' explosive offensive game plan, led by Ben Johnson. That explosive game plan that didn't work out for us, man. Unbelievable. I'm telling you what, I don't know. It's like that girl, back in high school that you look at, that she goes around the corner and you trip over your own 2 feet. I don't know if we were just mesmerized by what they had and what we didn't, and just staring to look at Ben Johnson, be like, hey, and Thomas Brown is like, eyes, eyes,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was just bad. And then the costly mistakes and turnovers that put the Bears in an early hole. The mistakes and turnovers, man, we can't have that. We just can't have that, Jamari.
Yeah, and the penalties, like you said, the pre-snap penalties is also kicking our butts too. So it's like everything just snowballs. You got the penalties, you got the turnovers. Then on top of that, we haven't mentioned the inefficient run game also. So I was listening to the broadcast, and they was talking about how we needed somebody to complement Swift, and I agree. But I feel like we do have that guy in Roshan. They don't use him enough. So I mean, like, maybe if we get him more involved, maybe let
Yeah.
him depend, like, why we can't run, then, like, how back in the day New England, they had a scheme basically for like almost every a different game.
Yes,
Sometimes they'll use different running backs.
bro.
So I don't understand why we can't do that.
Hey, let me tell you one thing. I went heard you all. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jamari? I'm having a little internet. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Am I
you
good?
clear.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I've
yeah,
been
you
having a little
good.
internet today and yesterday. Here's the deal. I did a deep dive on all the misses during Bill Belichick for the drafts. Unbelievable how many he missed, but he was still able to adapt and overcome. And like you said, game plan around all of that. There was some big swings and some big misses by some freaking dusty names out there. Please go look at that. Please go look at that. I encourage you to look at that. I know you all think, and there's a microscope right now on polls, and I put it on them too because I'm thirsty. You know what thirsty men do. We expect way too much out of that first sip. And here's the deal. It's not you don't hit on every single one of them. Okay, you don't. Take a look at one of the best coaches, if not the best coach to ever walk the land. His GM, and I'm sure he was a part of it, he was like basically a GM over there. Okay, they missed big time. Okay, but I'm not going to spend too much on that. Okay, look, I will say this. The costly mistakes and turnovers that put the Bears early in a hole, those are things that the players need to do in order to get better. The coaches, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Did we see Cole Kmet look better? Yes. Did we see DJ look better? Yes. Did we look like what Keenan did? Hell yes. Did the offensive line, even with Braxton going out with an air cast and Tevin going out too, they looked a little rough after both them boys went down. But for the most part, against the Detroit Lions, even though they're banged up and they're on like their third, fourth string, we did pretty good against them boys, man. And I'll say this, man. What is next for the Bears, Jamari? We preview the quick turnaround as they prepare themselves to face the Seattle Sea Chickens on Thursday night. Will the Bears finally snap their losing streak, or is it going to be more frustration ahead for us? What do you say, Jamari? You think we can do it or no?
I don't think we could do it.
I don't think we can either, man. I think we're going to ride the pine all the way out. 4 wins. That's what we got, baby.
Yeah, like I don't want to be that negative fan, but I got to be realistic. And we have a tough schedule. Um, I don't see us winning. I'll see us being competitive maybe the next 2 games, but it's gonna be a letdown.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just right now, like it sucks to say, like we gotta say this, but I just want Caleb to stay healthy all 17 games. I want him to get all the experience that he can, go have the confidence going into next year. Um, and then we start fresh when the new league year starts.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I just want to let you know that I was a bad player, so maybe that's why my podcast looks so good. Basically, I'm just piggybacking off of what Aunt Mass said, even though I hate saying piggybacking because everybody used it and it's wore out, like your underwear before Father's Day. Aunt Mass says, if Komet looked good, then his podcast will suffer. If his podcast is good, his field play suffers. He did play pretty good today, man. I was pretty proud of Cole Komet, number 85 over there. Keenan Allen looked good, like the Keenan of old. I agree, man. I tell you what, right now, the fact that he is not called upon to ride that whole offense on his shoulders is going to basically preserve his shelf life. And what I mean by that, he's not getting that many targets. Look at what he had to do for San Diego over the last decade. It was a lot. There's a lot of miles over there. So the fact that he hasn't been out all season is a testament to the fact that we have so many targets. But again, we were talking to Henry Melton. He was saying the right scheme, the right game plan for each and every player, and build that around the players and their strengths around you will help you out. I do not think these guys, Jamari, are being put in the best position to be successful at each level that they're at. I really think if you get a good field general in here and he shapes things up and he puts these guys and makes them accountable, the OC, the DC, and all of, the extended, staff, I really think that's going to make a difference. I don't think we're all blind, I really think that we saw what we saw and we just can't see it because we do not have the right leadership and the people to put us in position to win. I've seen far too many draws, too many freaking runs up the middle, and just basically running just to run. It just doesn't make sense on how the script is, how the plays are scripted right now. It's not a whole lot of sense. I do feel like even though Thomas Brown isn't the best guy to run this on the OC side, I really feel like keeping him there might have been the best thing that we could have done, potentially moving Washington up into that position as the temporary head coach, or just keeping the freaking Eberflus in the building. As much as he pissed us off, as much as he made.
Yeah, to touch on what Brandon was saying, I agree. Like with Eberflus, we did want him going, but I guess now we see how important he was. Going forward, I do think that we need to get like guys that's gonna take these guys to another level mentally because I think the talent is there. Last Monday when we played against the Vikings, Troy Aikman was saying how like especially at the quarterback position, these coaches isn't really going over like the basic stuff, like how to exploit defenses and stuff like that. And we seen how with Sam Darnold, how he played for Shanahan over the last few years, and now he's with Kevin O'Connell. They said that he taught him like different aspects of the game and stuff. So that's what we need to bring to Chicago. We need a coach that's gonna get these players to another level mentally.
Yeah, I agree, man. We got to get a guy to bring him to another level mentally. And we were talking earlier today about all the guys in the past that have been defensive minded coaches, Landry, all these guys, tons of guys, Bill Belichick, there's like freaking 13 guys that's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that were head coaches. Mike Tomlin, he's getting ready to look, Harbaugh, all these guys, over Baltimore, all these guys have led their team, and they don't have to be a leader of one person. All for Caleb when you got 53 more. It's just nonsense. It's just foolish talk to just go out and get an offensive minded guy when you have to be a leader in the whole entire organization, all 53. You really got to look at it like that. So if you have a chance, look at the show this morning where we debunked that you have to have an OC in order to right the ship and to bring back. You don't have to do that. You can go get a guy, like we'll just say, for instance, Mike Vrabel. That's the hot commodity right now. Okay. What if he brings in an OC? What if he brings in an OC that he has good connection with from, the New England Patriots, and he takes care of that? I mean, you look at what happened in terms of, over there with the Carolina Panthers, okay? You look at that, where they sent the OC, the quarterback coach and all that down to Auburn to go look at Cam Newton and make sure to find out what exactly they did in order to make him be, the Heisman candidate that he was, What did they, and that's what a real head coach does that is defensive minded or offensive minded. It doesn't matter either way. They do those sort of things. They empower the men. You don't have to put a thumb over people and, basically just, micromanage them. Let those guys do what they do best so that you can be the orchestrated guy that orchestrates the whole entire team, like the orchestra. And do that. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, you look at that, it's going to be interesting. I look at a guy like Pete Carroll. I'm very interested in that guy. You look at him with 10 freaking playoff wins. You look at him with the Super Bowl. You look at him with what he's done with quarterbacks and even in college. That's an interesting look, Jamari, and he's been battle tested. He's been through all of it. Mike Vrabel, in my opinion, he never should have been fired. He never should have been fired. He lost Arthur Smith, and he was really good OC, man. He took care of that side of the ball, and there was some power struggles over there. So my point is, you can look at a guy with a defensive-minded, background, and he could still be good for you for the whole organization. And like you said, and what everybody's saying now is we need a guy that can come in here, and we have a foundation that is broken. You saw it today. You see it every game. Our foundation is broken. It's not just cracked. It is demolished. We have to go in there, rip it all to shreds, tear it out, and just re-pour the whole thing and put some studs up, put some walls up, put a roof up, insulate it, the whole freaking thing, man. It's got to start from scratch. And you can't do that with a guy like Ben Johnson. He's not been battle tested. Daddy's there to take care of everything. Dan Campbell's the biggest voice in the room. What happens when you don't have the biggest voice in the room? Then what happens? Are you the next Adam Gase? What are you? What are you to me? Can you lead the whole entire group? And today, he didn't look like, and somebody said it in the chat earlier, he should have scored 50-something points against our Bears, the way things were going. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, a head coach should be a head coach, and you don't have to worry about it, whether it be an offense or defense or none of that crap. We're just getting way too far into the weeds. We're listening to all this stuff about everybody wants to look at the sexiest look right now and the Ben Johnson and whatever. And why wouldn't it be? It's an easy ask. The team's 14-2. They're off to the best record in the history of ever for the Detroit Lions. I mean, come on, dude. It's the easiest thing. You don't even have to do homework to promote an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, head coach from Detroit. You know what I mean? They'll back down when things go south, though. I guarantee you that. They're like, oh, yeah, I told you, they should have, nobody's going to stand on that, But like I said, man, will the Bears finally snap their losing streak, or is more frustration to come? You said more frustrations to come. I agree. I think them Seahawks are going to fly. I think they're going to soar over our asses, and we're going to look really silly. And it's sad that it's going to be that way, but hopefully this is going to help, drive the final nail in the coffin, and we can finally put it all to rest and get somebody in the building. Per, Kevin Warren, per, what do you call it, Ryan Poles, they actually finally have the voice in the room and the authority to make these next selections right at coaching, and they have all the money to make it right. So, who do you guys want? Drop some comments in there. I've already seen you guys blow up the chat. We love you guys. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, all your content. You guys are very smart, very intelligent. Let us know. Like if you like what we have to say. If you don't like, wish there was a thumbs down. I'd probably get a lot of that, maybe even a middle finger. But drop something in there. Let us know who you would like to see as the next head coach, what you would like to see in order to finish out this season, what would help you put it to rest. I've already saw a couple things over in Twitterverse where people have taken polls whether they would actually see the game or not. Thousands of people said yes. The others were probably lying, and the other few that was left of those liars probably ain't worth a crap as far as a fan anyways. You know what I'm saying, Jamari?
Yeah, absolutely. And with the coaching thing, I wanted to touch on I
Please.
feel like people only want that offensive guy because they see where the league is trending in terms of like the teams that's making the Super Bowl or competing on a year-to-year basis. Like you got the Chiefs, the Rams over the last few years before like they hit the reset. Like all these teams that the Bengals when they had their run, we want that offensive guy so people can say like, oh, like we had a stability, keep him with Caleb or whichever young quarterback we have. Like they see the trend, and they say, oh, look, probably the last defensive guy that went to the Super Bowl or won it was probably Belichick, I think. So I think that we just fallen into the trend. We not really focusing on the individuals that's available. But I'm with you though. I think that we need to get the best guy that's good, like the best fit for us, whether it's an offensive, defensive, or a special teams, because we forget about special teams too.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever's that guy, that's who we need to sign, and then let him get his staff, and then they go from there.
I tell you what, I really would be interested. And I did a show earlier today about Ron Rivera. I'd be very interested in Ron Riverboat Rivera instead of Dusty Dan Campbell. I mean, everybody likes the knees, being bitten off and all that kind of stuff. And I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they didn't bite our knees off. But I tell you right now, Ron Riverboat, he's the real freaking deal, man. He's the guy I was talking about earlier that sent his OC and his quarterback coach and all them boys over to Auburn to see what was going on with Cam Newton. And he made that right. He did a lot of good stuff when he went over to Washington, the Redskins. He did good over there, I mean, he is a guy, when you look in the vintage of the Chicago Bears, there was a tons of former players that became coaches. Ron Rivera should be one of them. He was groomed by Mike Singletary. He played for freaking Ditka. He sat right on the other side of freaking Buddy Ryan and Walter Payton on the plane rides. This guy is ready, dude. What he did for Washington when he put him on his back, when all that crap was falling to the wayside, and it was like a Titanic going from the Redskins to the freaking Commanders, and now from what I understand might be back to the Redskins again. But I'm saying he did great. He was like, they didn't have nothing left, and they put everything on that man's back. He even fought cancer, and he freaking won. This guy is battle tested. He fought cancer and he won, and he come back Them boys won 6 out of 7 or something like that games for him, man. This guy is a
Yeah.
warrior, dude. I want to bring back. He knows what it's like to play as a Bear. He knows what it's like to coach as a Bear, as a defensive coordinator. He knows what it's like to be a freaking damn Bear. And that's what we need. We need more Bears in the damn building, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I always liked Ron Rivera. He like you said, he knows what it's like to be a Bear. He played
Yeah.
for us. Even when he was coaching with us, like Lovey was probably looking over his shoulder like this guy could possibly take my job one day. So
Yeah.
I mean so
Yeah.
that's why I feel like he would be a great fit for us. Also, even I wanted Harbaugh too, another former Bear.
Well, and
Sean Pay.
here's what I have to say. I have to, kind of just go off of what you just said. Let's not glance over this. If we skip over and gloss over Ron Rivera, are we not doing the same thing that we just did with goddamn Harbaugh? Everybody bitched and moaned that we glanced over Harbaugh, who was a former Bears player, and wanted to restore him and bring him back to Chicago because we wanted a Bear player, a Bear coach. Isn't that what the fuck freaking Ron Rivera is? Pay attention. Think outside of the goddamn box like people do at Taco Bell, okay? Think outside of the bun, you morons. Look at somebody that is not the freaking sexy freaking swimsuit model on Sports Illustrated that everybody's telling you to drink the Kool-Aid and go after goddamn Ben Johnson. I'm not saying that Ben Johnson isn't the guy. I'm just saying try to do due diligence and look at other guys out here. I won't even tell you if Ron Rivera is my guy because as a producer, not a consumer, I argue both sides. If you look at 11 days ago, I actually pointed where I thought Mike Vrabel is the very best pick to lead our freaking team and to build our infrastructure and bring us back to greatness. 11 days later, I argued against his ass on why he would be horrible, how he went 6 for 18 in his final games and lost his last 7 games and all this kind of crap. And he wasn't diddly squat without freaking Arthur. So my whole point is you got to look at both freaking sides, man. Don't just freaking be one of those guys that's head down. Do your work, take a look, see what's out there. Ben might be the guy. I'm not saying he's not. Glenn, the defensive coordinator for Lions, might be the guy. It might not even be somebody in the Lions uniform. It might be the freaking OC over there with the Bills that freaking he's got that freaking team humming, dude. But I don't know. How do you feel about all this? Do you feel like we probably are in our best opportunity? Like maybe the McCaskies are more further away from making a decision now that Kevin Warren, I've never seen this, where people stood in front of the mic, stood in front of the camera, and basically just makes a decision. And speaking of Kevin Warren,
So, like, Brandon went out again. I'm gonna say my thoughts. I think the McCaskies, they definitely need to let Kevin Warren and Poles do their job. Here's the thing, though. Head coaches are gonna be they're gonna be looking for stability. And with Ryan Poles right now, you don't really know like if he's gonna be here for a long term or if he's gonna get fired too. Now, my thing is if we fire Eberflus in the middle of the season, then they would have fired Poles. But if I was a coach and I was interviewing for this Bears job, you got to consider like this guy might be on his way out the next year. So like what if the next guy come in and he wants to bring in his own people? That's something to consider. So the McCaskies and Kevin Warren, they have some decisions to make in this off season. The McCaskies can't be getting in the way when it comes to football decisions, though, because we know that they did it before. A lot of people like to say that Kevin Warren isn't a football guy. He just came in for the stadium and stuff like that. He's still gonna have to make some football decisions in terms of what are they gonna do with polls? What are they like? Are they gonna hire another guy? And if they are gonna hire another guy, who is it gonna be? So they definitely have a long off season ahead, just like how we're doing our homework over here in terms of like who's gonna be the best fits. We got to figure out the combinations and stuff like that in terms of like bringing in that head coach, and then figuring out what our offense and defensive philosophy is gonna be. Like they have a lot of homework, so we got a long off season ahead of us, fans. So, but we've been there before, so we'll definitely get through it. I think that since what's his name, Kevin Warren, since he been there, I mean the organization kind of been moving a little bit differently. They not sticking with the mistakes, like they're not sinking their teeth into the mistakes that they made, like how we seen with like Ted Phillips and the old regime. So I mean, hopefully we get the things going right in the future. We finally got our quarterback. I know a lot of people like to talk. They like to talk shit about him. But we got our guy. You good? Like we can't hear you.
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
I got some serious freaking internet issues over here. I don't know what's going on, man. So where were you at, buddy?
No, I was saying, like basically we have a long off season ahead of us. Hopefully, McCaskey's isn't getting in the way. I was saying how with Kevin Warren. We kind of been moving a little bit differently with him because when we do make mistakes, we're not sinking our teeth into the mistake and trying to make it work. Like we're moving a little bit differently. I was talking about how with polls, we're like when like let's just say when we're bringing in those head coach candidates, what is the organization going to do with polls, because we don't know if he's going to be here long term. If so, they're going to have to resign him just so the next coach have stability also. So
Yeah. Shout out to Dave for coming up in the chat. I do want you guys to understand. Look at the stats that even Joe Gibbs, you look at a guy like Joe Gibbs and what he did. 3 Super Bowls, I think darn near 70% wins or something crazy like that. Look what happened when the current owner went in there and messed everything up. He went down to like 39%. That's the same thing that happened when you had Ron Rivera. It's not because of Ron Rivera and what he did at all. And he's not the only coach that's ever been able to do that. I mean, sometimes liars figure and figures lie. And right now, them figures are lying because anybody that knows football and's worth the salt knows exactly what happened in Washington and why ownership need to get the heck out of there. They got in the way of something that was really great. And I'll tell you right now, I got no problems with Ron Rivera at all whatsoever, man. At all. He won at a high level. He won the Super Bowl. He was a good linebacker coach. He was a defensive coordinator back when we were looking great. And then he became a head coach, man. Like I said, he appointed them boys to go over there and look at Cam Newton and Auburn. And you don't have to be an OC to do that. You just have to appoint the guys who you trust in order to go do that. He did a really good job with the Panthers, man. They went to 3 playoffs and a Super Bowl. They were humming, man. Let's talk about all of it, not just what fits our narrative. So, and like I said, that isn't particularly like my go-to guy, but I would definitely at least would like our guys to take a look at him. Let's take a really good look. The fact that we're having this conversation lets us know that we are actually not wasting our breath, that they are probably going to go ahead and take a good look at coaches out there and give us a really good chance at something to happen, Jamari. Don't you feel that a little bit?
absolutely, I really think things is gonna be different. We definitely gonna look at some. We have some good guys that's available. They just have to take their time. Don't
Yeah.
don't make the decision too fast.
Yeah.
Bring in everybody, like who, like you. I don't know when exactly they have to make the head coach and hire, but bring in everybody and see like what's their plan, and see what fits the team.
Yeah.
And, and yeah, so we have a lot of homework to do this offseason.
Yeah, and don't count out a guy because he had to fight cancer and cut his career short, and because the whole tumultuous situation where Washington was upside down and they had to basically pin it all on somebody because his fight against cancer and also because of what was going on with the ownership there. Don't pin that all on him. What would you do? What would you do if you were fighting cancer and fighting for your life? What would you do when everything was freaking falling to the wayside, when people were picking and fighting over whether to call the team by Washington Redskins or by, the Washington Commanders and all that freaking crap, man? Think a little bit. Think about what he had to go through as a freaking person. Some people aren't even battle tested in life. I would like to have somebody that's freaking battle tested that know what it's like to be a real Chicago Bear. Some people out there ain't even old enough to know what it's like to be a Chicago Bear because I feel bad for them because they haven't seen us in the good times back when we were good, right, Jamari? There's been a lot of bad
Absolutely.
times, and I'll tell you what, I feel for the 85 Bears that I've interviewed that we've been around. Oh my God, they deserve it better than anybody, man, because quite honestly, we're not even putting out a product for them to be able to be proud of and watch. And they bared, they donned a Bears uniform and they wore that, GSH proudly, man. I don't even think there's enough pride in the building for us to win a ball game in the last. We've lost 9 in a row, you know. And you talk to these guys like Henry Melton, like we've had in the building 2 weeks ago, and we just had, we just had Jerry Azuma, and I'm telling you right now, man, they said it best. Even at every level, second, third string, there was always somebody in there that would play, and you would not see this big of a gap when Billings went down or a Javon Dexter or somebody that went down where we would just get ran on. To be ran on is freaking demoralizing, brother. We need to address that elephant in the building first before we worry about freaking Caleb. Caleb's a rookie. This shit's going to happen. What about guys that's been in the league for a little bit? You know what I'm saying, Jamari?
Absolutely, and just like you said, how like back in the day, back in the '80s, and like when we was well coached, we had a lot of talent on the team. Especially like we had depth. Like I feel like it's been like that a lot. Like even back in 2018, when we had like Hicks and stuff, sometimes when they would go down, and or when Mac would go down, and we like once those guys go down, the defense falls off. We need to get back to those days where we have like a lot of quality depth on the roster. We're drafting and developing guys. Um, it has like our draft picks kind of is like far and few between when it comes to us hitting on like quality guys. So whenever we start doing that again, that's when we're gonna start competing on a serious level. We need to get back to doing stuff like that.
Evie Warrior, who's saying that we're going to be fine with 4-13? Who are you talking to, man? Who's ever you're talking to that's okay with 4-13? Nobody's okay with that. We wouldn't be looking or even talking about the three things in the game that were horrible, the three mistakes, the late start. I don't know what you're smoking or who you're talking to, but this is ridiculous. There's no need for that kind of talk here in the building. Because honestly, anybody that I know that's in the chat or that's sitting on this platform is okay with the way things are going. That's why we're talking about bringing in a Bear who knows what it's like to play and coach as a Bear to restore the Chicago Bears to freaking greatness. Okay? There's a little bit more depth to this program than whatever you're talking about, Evie. Okay? And you know what? As far as Chuck Pagano goes, Brad, he's not been battle tested. Pagano barely freaking knows what it was like to be at the level. Like, he's not even the same sentence as Ron Rivera. The only thing that I've seen as far as people as an argument goes is because he's been away for a little bit as far as, an HC the last 3 or 4 years, is that his time has escaped him. They were saying the whole thing about Bill Belichick, but when they found out that he potentially would be a freaking candidate, oh, now all of a sudden they're interested in Bill Belichick, and he's going to save the day at the ripe age of 72. And as soon as he freaking chose to be North Carolina coach, they started crying in their Cheerios again, pal. You know, I mean, it's seriously, and I guarantee you they're gonna have an excuse on why not to freaking hire Pete Carroll. Like, I mean, who in the hell do you guys really want? I mean, some of y'all are just gonna complain just to complain. Damn it, you know what I'm saying, Jamari? I feel like if
It,
we get Bill Belichick, if we get anybody right now, they're still gonna freaking complain, no matter what it
that,
is. You know,
that's
not
that's
everybody.
no that's normally how it is, Doc. And I mean, we've been hurt so many times, but people see the age as a problem for some reason. It's like you have to pay attention to the situation. Um, like people, like I understand how Bill Belichick went out in New England. Like you can kind of put that on him, but at the same time, like look who they had coaching. Who was it? Mac Jones when they still had him. Like they made the mistake by putting Patricia as the OC. Who
Bro.
know? But he's not. He's not gonna make that same mistake
No,
twice.
no,
So and same with Pete Carroll. Like Pete Carroll, I mean, how he went out in Seattle. I mean, who knows if what if he was able to rebuild that whole situation again? So people act like building the team happens over like 1 year. It doesn't. It takes some
no.
time. So
Look what Bill happened as soon as he lost Tom. And it wasn't just Tom. He lost it's just easy to
yeah,
circle Tom. He lost a lot throughout the years. It's hard to keep that going for as long as it went. You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You can't keep a team the Legion of Boom forever. It just doesn't work, man. Marshawn Lynch, all that stuff, you know. And I'm sure Pete was pissed off when they didn't hand the ball to Marshawn on the goal line because Pete loves to run the freaking ball. I seen it at USC. I know what that guy's like. He likes to run first, to set up the pass. He likes a good defense. He started as defense and then he traversed over to offense. So I know what the hell I'm talking about in terms of that. But yeah, man, seriously, guys, look, shout out to you guys. Just make sure you do diligence. Take a good look at everybody. Don't just be comfortable with whoever they're telling you to go out and get. Just because somebody tells you Ben Johnson is the freaking guy, don't be that, yes man. Don't be a yes man and just say, okay, I'm supposed to like Ben Johnson because of the hot commodity. Listen to Jamari. Jamari might have something. Listen to another guy. Listen to Darius. He might have something. Listen to somebody in the chat. And don't even listen to me. I don't give a shit. I mean, some of y'all might not even give a damn about what I got to say, but you might give a damn about who else I bring on. And you might not even give a damn. It's funny. Some guys that I brought on who had a hell of a good time with guys that I brought on the show, when I tell them and I repeat what I've said when we've went back and forth with text messages and emails and just phone conversations, they're like, you don't have to be a pro in order to. I watch football. I watch football every Sunday. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Who cares what he thinks? So, whatever. Find whoever the hell you like to listen to. See what they got to say. Do your homework and figure it out. Because quite honestly, I really feel like some of y'all are going to complain about freaking any. If we get Mike Tomlin in the building, you'll complain about him too. He was only good with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look at that team that they had over in Pittsburgh. You should have brought the whole team with Mike. You know, he's another defensive minded guy, and you guys want Mike Tomlin. What the hell? Sorry, Jamari.
no, I agree 100%. Like you said, it's always with
It
us. It's
kills me.
always something. Either he's gonna be too old or he's not gonna have experience. And like you say, even if we did bring in a Tomlin or something, oh, he didn't bring T.J. Watt with him, or he didn't bring Minka Fitzpatrick with him, or whoever he didn't bring that offensive line. Like so. I mean, it is what it is. We
Well,
we
hey,
do.
you know what, Abu, I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name. You got a very fascinating name. My name, Brandon, is very boring. Okay, so Abu, shout out to you. I will say this: that's true, Buck. It doesn't matter what any of us think at all. But Olin said something very funny today. I think it was just kind of like fun, kind of chippy. He said, oh, you already heard it, Jamar. I said it earlier in the show. Some of y'all have heard it. And he said this. He goes, let's bring back Eberflus to fix our defense. No, he did say let's bring back. He said let's sign Eberflus to fix our defense. I mean, we had the guy in the building. I heard freaking Jim Miller say that on Sirius XM channel 88. We just fired the guy in the freaking building, the only guy that can call defense plays, you know. So I thought Washington would be decent, but he's not, dude. He's trash. I don't want him as a DC. Get him out of the building. Take him out of here. We got to start from scratch. Sorry, Thomas Brown, you're the sacrificial lamb. I really like you, but I'm not. You're not. You're not. You're. We're not in it for likes. We're in it for victories, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my Brown. I don't think he's ready to be a head coach yet. In Washington, I think he was a defensive line coach before he
Yeah.
came to Chicago. I think wasn't he with us like when with Lovey like a decade ago probably.
Who's that, bro?
Washington, Eric Washington.
Yeah, he was in the building a while back. He was a positional coach. I forget which one it was. Somebody in the chat will probably bail us out. We've got the smartest guys. I put our freaking listeners up with better than 31 other, or they're really fast at Google. It's one of the two or both. But they always bail us out of the chat, Jamari. Don't worry. It's just going to be a matter of moments before they're going to hook us up with the answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What up, Ant Mass? Shout out to Ant Mass. Shout out to all you guys in the building, man. My computer's driving me freaking bug nuts. My internet's going nuts. I'm on my stupid cell phone in selfie mode, freaking doing the podcast in my winter freaking garage, man. It's cold. I got the heater over here, the space heater. I got some drapes, some black drapes up. I put those up to try to, take the chill down. It's not working. It's still freaking cold, Jamari. It's still cold, but I'm battling with you guys. So you look a little toasty over there. Where you stay at, Jamari?
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey. It's cold here too, but I got the heat on right now because I'm trying to get over a little
Oh yeah.
flu like symptoms.
My family's
But
not a big fan of my podcast, so I try not to bore them with all my stuff. So I'm out here freezing my ass off in the freaking in the
yeah,
garage.
yeah, I'm in my
Yeah.
room. I got the heat blaster right now.
Yeah. Well, I do have a heater. We do. I do have a heater. It's a space heater. I had two of them, but it flipped the circuit breaker this morning.
Oh
So I had to
man,
run down to the basement and flip the circuit breaker back on in order to restore power. And the podcast started late, So I know I have to run one space heater in my garage, even though I have its own circuit breaker in my garage. I don't know why the hell it's not working to where I could just flip that off and then back on. But I'm going to get an electrician over here that knows what the hell is going on. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. I was
Freaking
gonna say
Cliff says he's
hopefully.
sitting outside in shorts, man. Probably cooking a brisket on the freaking slow cooker, too. That freaking guy, man. Love you, Cliff. Love you. Everybody, who else is in the chat? We got Buck Nasty. We got Ghost of Judah Tribe, EV Warrior, Abu, David Heredos. Shout out to Dave. James Childress. Shout out to James. Shout out to Bradley. Probably the youngest guy in here. He's like 27. General Manager John. Oh, General Manager John. He looks like he needs a job, man. Why don't you come bail us out, General Manager John? Tell us what we need to do, man. Right the ship, brother. No, this game was embarrassing. This game was you know what I was surprised though? Here's what I was surprised about, Jamari. I was surprised that they were actually letting Gibbs freaking play today, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised that they let all the starters play. I guess they really trying to lock up the number one seed. But Gibbs, yeah, I was surprised that he played because they gonna run him in the playoffs. They gonna get ready to ground and pound him. And Montgomery, if he's back too, they gonna have to run it. That's when the playoffs. The run game is important in the playoffs.
I'm
So
listening to you, bro. Just Bucks being wild. He said, "Tell us the truth. My wife kicked me out." Bro, if she kicked me out, I'd be in the damn freaking Jeep right now with the exhaust on outside instead of in this garage. So, yeah, she'd probably turn the power off to the garage if it was that bad. Nah, man, no. But what is Cliff saying? Cliff, he said Detroit is in the race for number one. They need to win. Well, yeah,
yeah,
I tell you who else is in the need for a win. Anybody whose job's on the damn line. And like freaking Jerry Azuma said today on the show, all these guys are athletes. All these guys are competitive. They've been competitive their whole life. They want to win. They don't want to lose. Something is broke. It's not a matter of Detroit had to win and we didn't. We have to freaking win too. A lot of people's jobs are on the line. Hey, and I'm telling you right now, Jamari, I don't care if I'm more skilled or you're more skilled than me. If you're right next to me, I'm trying to save your job and you're trying to save my job. That's all I got to say about that.
absolutely.
I agree with Aunt Mass. Let's talk to the veterans, man. Let's talk to the guys that have got it right. Let's talk to Vrabel and Ron Rivera. Bring them in. Let's see what they got to say. And I tell you one thing, this shit show's got to stop for interviews because these guys come in, put lipstick on a pig, and come in and sound all good, use those big tech words and sound all smart and sophisticated, and then they go out on the field and stink up the joint. You know what I mean? Anybody can nail the landing in an interview and sound really smart in front of the McCaskies. I start calling them the McQuackskis. But quite honestly, I think we need a guy in the building. And I'm not talking about freaking Bill Polian that's going to go out and find a freaking guy from the Colts so he can hurry up and get back to the bar and have a couple more drinks and say, yeah, let's just grab an Indianapolis Colt guy that they're getting ready to get rid of and let's promote him all the way to head coach, even though they don't want him as a defensive coordinator anymore. You know what I mean? That's what happened. And I can't believe that they couldn't see that. You know what I'm saying? And then they gave freaking Ryan Poles three guys. They gave him three nuts and said, pick one. Pick the best nut. You know what I mean? That's crap,
Basic,
man. You know what I mean?
basic, basically, and I'm you literally is saying stuff that's on my mind right now because, like you said, why are we bringing in guys like Bill Polian or Ernie Accorsi to make these big signings or coming up with these plans for the Bears when they don't work for the Bears? They need to get somebody. Why isn't that Kevin Warren's job? Like why wasn't that Ted Phillips' job in the past? Why are we bringing in outside consultants? And then I want to be in these interviews because how do they get how do they get a guy like Tressman over a guy like Bruce Arians and stuff like that? How do they get a guy like Matt Nagy over somebody like Frank Wright? How do
Yeah.
they get Eberflus from the guys that was available in 2022 with Mike McDaniel and I think Dan Quinn was also up there that year.
Bro,
I don't
Quinn, come
understand it.
on.
I don't understand it.
Come on. Preach, bro.
So I mean, we need somebody that's in the organization that's gonna or no, I'm sorry. They need to stop going outside to get like outside opinions to like make these like 3-4 year plans. That should be guys that's in the organization's job to do that. If you want to go to Bill Polian, why not just hire him as the team president?
Yeah. I mean, here we go. We're looking at underdog NFL fantasy football and the 2025 draft order per Tankathon, right? I like that name, Tankathon. Uh, and it looks like as of right now, the Chicago Bears are ninth on the clock at 4-11. Okay.
Yeah,
So we can move, we can move up just a little bit if the Jets or the Cardinals lose. We've got a three-way tie. Hold on, let me get a little closer to this, bro. We've got one, two, three. These how many teams are freaking 3-12, bro? One, two, three, four, five. Five teams are 3-12, and 3 teams are 4-11. And New Orleans Saints are right behind us. If we win one more and the Saints lose out, the Saints might actually creep up on us, and the Giants are right behind us too. So I'm just saying, man, we're at 4 wins. We need to be rooting for the Jets to lose and Carolina. No, we want the Jets to win and the Carolina to win and Vegas to win. That's what we need. I don't see the freaking Vegas. I don't see them winning. So we might be able to move up to at least the Jets or Carolina. So right now, do your due diligence and root for freaking Aaron Rodgers. Okay, we need him to win out and us to lose. And hopefully we get a good, we pick the right guy. Hopefully it's an offensive lineman. That's what I want to ask you.
We
What do you think? Where would you like to see the first 3 picks in the draft? Not even a player, but positional. When I'm talking about positional, we got 3 picks in the first 40, top 40. Where would you like to see? I'll lead off. Okay. I'll lead off. I want to see what we did in 2022 when we went out and got freaking what do you call it? Spider-Man.
Kyler.
Yeah, and Brisker. I want to see how they went out and got those 2 defensive backs. I want to do that with offensive line was our first 2 picks. First pick in the draft or the ninth pick in the draft, or if we get better, and then the first second round pick that we've got. The third pick in the second round, I'd be willing to look at edge or even a 3 technique or even possibly like a nose tackle or something like that. We need to address both sides, but what I would like to see first is to go offensive line, then defensive line. What would you like to see, bro?
I'm right there with you. I would like to see well, in the first round, I definitely would like to see us get a tackle. I don't see Braxton Jones being that long term guy.
No.
Um and then in the second round, because we have 2 second round picks. And they might even be able to play around and probably try to trade either probably trade that first pick back depending on who's in front of us, or I mean sorry, who's behind us and need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Um we could play around, maybe get 2 first round picks. We'll see. But I would like to see a tackle, a defensive tackle, because I think Javon Dexter might be a guy to keep, but we still need a 3 technique. And then I would like to see us get a center because the interior has been horrible for years, and they keep playing around getting retreads at the
Bro,
center position.
I want a left tackle and I want a center, or if we can get a center out of free agency, I'd like to see us get a guard. But I want a
Yeah,
left tackle first and foremost, and then work on the inside. So, 2 guys I'd like to see early in the draft because obviously we don't know what the hell we're doing late in the draft. Early in the draft, we nailed it with Wright. So what I would say is let Poles cook early in the draft. Let him go after first round. Let him go after first pick in the second round, and then the second pick in the second round. Let him go after edge or some sort of defensive line type. You know what I mean? Um, I think if we have to, and I don't want to speak this into existence because I'm really worried about his health, even after football. But if we need to address, Brisker and replace, we don't really need to go up that high in the draft to replace. We can either get a safety in the potentially the third or the fourth round or something like that. You know what I mean?
absolutely, I agree. Because with Hicks, like I liked him coming out of I think he came out of
Cal, Cal,
California.
yeah.
Yeah, I liked him.
Mm.
I mean, he plays all right, but he's a depth guy in my opinion. So I would definitely like to see us get safety, maybe like in the mid rounds, like third, fourth round. Um, I'm right there with you. And on top of that, who knows what we're gonna do with Stevenson also? Because Stevenson, he's been. I feel like he's a good player, but his attitude, he has like he makes it about him kinda. Maybe if we bring in the next guy that's gonna be able to rein him in, he might be somebody that we could keep. But we got a lot of holes on this team. But I would definitely like to see us
Got a
adjust the
lot of what?
offensive line. We
Got
got
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
what?
holes on the team.
Oh, holes. I thought you
Yeah.
said something else, and I would
No.
agree with that other thing.
But
No, but we got some holes in this house. No, dude, seriously, like, here's the deal. Somebody just said in the chat, and I appreciate you. Appreciate you for taking a look at this. We still got what, 3 games left? Is it 3 games?
two. We got two,
Two.
I think. Yeah. We have
So,
Seattle and then Green
yeah,
Bay.
Seattle and Green Bay. Okay, yeah, because I'm counting this one twice apparently. So look it, we got 283, right? We're not that far away from 328. The season's not over, okay? And where we're at right now, it's not a finished product. Plus, we have a rookie in the building. You can't compare that. We lost our OC, and we never even had an OC this year. So there's a lot going on that's not the same. You know, sometimes the math just ain't mathing for a reason. You look at things that The fact is, situations are situational. And right now we're in a situation, boys, and I'm not making excuses from anybody. It's pitiful. It pisses me off, but you can't really lump it all together and just call it what it is. So um, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying, but there's a lot to take that's good, and there's a lot to take that's bad. So let's move forward. And I agree with a boo, a boo. I agree with what he said. O line. You and I said the same thing. O line. Uh, the games to watch next week. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this. 2-year, 20 million, but with incentives. I wonder what Nick Rhodey was talking about. I have to say that was probably baseball. Nick Rhodey, a friend of the show, who's on Just Another Year Chicago for the Bears and Cubs, has had breaking news while I was on, but I couldn't take a look at it. Anyways, shout out to Nick Rhodey. Make sure you like and subscribe to us first, and then to Nick for Just Another Year. Cliff says the games to watch next week are the Jaguars, Titans, Raiders, Saints. Somebody needs to win each game. Thanks, Cliff. Yeah. Man, this guy just hit one out of the park. Cliff, you're not wrong there, brother. If they all tie, then something's up, dude. Somebody's got one of them pin dolls. Um, but yeah, he's right. And this will change the outcome. These are the things that we need to look at in order to keep our sanity, things that are going to keep us looking ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Since polls took over, the Bears have been outscored by a combined minus 215 points, 49 games, and have won 14. Listen, we knew this was going to happen. So you can't look at empty calories like a celery stick. Here's what's going to happen, because you're going to have to shut it up sideways up your butthole. Because the first year, when you look at it, we had to take a lot of good players and turn player capital into draft capital. So we already knew that year wasn't going to math for us. And the second year, we had to build on that year. So our first year, we had to go out and get defense, Jamari. And then the second year, we got some more defense. This year, we're actually able to go out and get some offense, but we only had a few draft picks. We didn't even have a whole lot of draft picks this year. So out of 3 years, we really haven't been able to do a lot. We haven't been able to hit our stride. And god dang, man, we haven't been able to get an OC and a real DC in the building and a freaking head coach. So for crying out loud, let's just try to move forward, and let's try to quit math and all this stuff, and understand that if we are going to get Ryan Poles and keep him, that we have to hope for the best. Because if you're a Chicago Bear fan, you shouldn't ever be trying to wish against a general manager or a head coach or players, because at the end of the day, we all want to freaking win, man.
And also to add on to what you just said with Ryan Poles, when he first got here, Ryan Pace is the one that was trading away all the draft picks. And when you building a team, especially to
Yeah.
compete for a long time, you need to hit on your draft picks. With Ryan Pace, he hit on a few draft picks early in his regime, but then you start letting guys go like Adrian Amos. Um, they let a few guys go.
Bro, I
Kyle
loved Adrian.
Fuller.
I loved Adrian Amos, man. He let Eddie Jackson cook, man. Eddie Jackson was not the same as soon as Adrian left, and he looked good.
Absolutely.
Not in a Packer uniform, but he still looked good when he left and played on another team, man. I knew he shouldn't have been gone. I liked Adrian, man. I think he was a solid player from Penn State, right? Good
Yeah,
dude,
yep.
man. Good
Uh,
dude.
that was one of my favorite players on the Bears. He was a quiet dude, but on the field he'll light you up.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Ryan Pace, he was trading away all these draft picks just to stay relevant. And then when Ryan Poles get here, he didn't have nothing to work with. And we was over the cap. We
Yeah.
had to let go a lot of key players like Mac, Robert Quinn,
Yeah.
Roquan Smith. So it's
Yep.
like, how are you supposed to compete with that? And on top of that, like we didn't have a lot of homegrown talent on the team. So when Poles came in, he had to bring in a lot of homegrown talent. And a
Bro.
lot of these guys that's on the team right now, they're
Yeah.
not fully developed yet. So I don't
No.
understand how fans expect like this team should be winning like 10 plus games right away. Like they have to develop chemistry. So I
And
get
I
the
understand he
frustration
got a
though.
little cute with some picks. I do understand that he got a little cute with some picks. I look at a
Yeah.
guy like Karama Amagaji, and I think that was a huge reach for a guy getting him out of, Ivy College and all that kind of stuff. Not saying he'll ever develop, but you don't get a developmental player in the third round, especially when you have so many holes on the offensive line and be like, all right, I got this guy and we're good, like Jairi Carter, and there's been a few guys that he's missed on, okay? I'm not saying that, but I will tell you this. He knows that the writing's on the wall. Kevin Warren and everybody has put some heat on him, and now they're holding him accountable. So let's see what the hell happens. Right now, you can't do nothing with it except just beat the same damn drum and just sound like an old man and a broken record. So let's try to, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, even though there's so much damn negative around us. Let's just try to look at what we could get. And like I said, I like what Cliff brought up. We need to look at these key games that are ahead of us right now. Cliff said we need to look at what the Saints, the Jets, the Jaguars. Those are like three teams that we need to take a look at who they're playing. And I believe the Raiders. He might have said also, and see what happens and where that unfolds, because that is also huge metrics for us for looking at the second round and all the rounds after Jamari, and that changes a lot of stuff too as far as what trading is going to go and all that kind of stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um and especially with trading, hopefully we don't like invest too much in the trade market because we still have to fill a lot of holes. Um but like we were saying though, you're gonna have some misses. You're gonna have some misses. GMs miss, they not 100%. So but like I said before, as long as we're able to move on from mistakes like how we have been,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Because before we would trade for a guy or we'll draft a guy and then try to drag it out their whole contract, try to make it work,
Yeah.
and we haven't done that lately. So
No, no, no. And we've cut bait when you need to cut bait, and I like that. Even if you don't get it in return what you gave up, the fact that you're getting ready to move on and move out, it shows accountability and moving forward. And we just got to stick with it. Listen, man, my toes are froze. I got to get the hell out of here. We've done an hour and a 25-minute show. I've been asked by quite a few guys. I've got some messages, emails. People have been talking to me at Bridges about extending this show a little bit for the post game because a lot of people had a lot to say. So, everybody, thank you for showing up and showing out, getting in the chat, talking to us. We're going to continue with our same format where we're going to do 20, 30-minute shows, 20 to 30-minute shows, depending on how many people are on. And then we're also going to do, just the solo shows for like breaking news and stuff. Those are going to be around the 9-minute variety. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We've grew over 2,000 subscribers with you. And let's keep growing together. Let's keep fighting together. Let's keep rooting for our Bears. And nobody jump off the bus. If you do, you weren't meant to be on it anyways. Chi-town up, bear down. See you guys.
bear down.
Later. Later, Jamari. Thanks for answering the bell tonight, brother.
No problem, brother. I'm here.
Let's see here. I got to figure out where the heck on my phone is to close out. It's bad, dude. This is bad.